Happy New Year, yeah. Happy New Year. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Filthy Report. My name is Jason Filthy Jones, bringing you the dirtiest information with the cleanest style. It's a new year. It's 2021. It's the first fight week of 2021. Let's get to some fight talk. What's going on, everybody? Hopefully your holiday season went great. Hopefully you were throwing your hands up when that ball was dropping and it was 2021, throwing out 2020 and getting right to business. So I want to apologize for going dark for a little bit, but there was no fights. It was holiday season. My family was over, had tons of fun. Hopefully everything went great for you guys. And just letting you guys know, there's going to be a couple of change-ups with the studio. I'm going to get it started in the work in the process of getting everything worked out and getting back to the regular schedule. Letting you know in a little bit that's going on in my life with my photography side. I've signed on with a ton of different companies now, doing a ton of different product photography, getting that out there, and just trying to find balance to do this YouTube show and to get that going. So that's what I'm working at. Don't worry, it's going to be producing great, and we're going to be bringing out shows that are bringing fire. Now, to get a little laundry out the way, if this is your first time, guys, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and do me a favor. Hit that like button so we can beat this algorithm. I need to get the Filthy Report out there. I want to get it out there. You guys are watching the show, so let's get it out there and let everybody know about it. I'm doing this fight talk, and I love doing fight talk because I love MMA, love combat sports. So if you guys can do that for me, and also make sure you smash that bell so you guys know when I'm dropping another episode. Let's get to it, though. If it isn't one of the best fights that are coming out at the beginning of the year, I don't know what to tell you, but it's the fight night that's going to be Max Holloway versus Kattar. Now, we'll get to that in just a moment. There's a couple of fights on this card. You guys are going to, if you guys are casuals or if you guys are hardcores, I know you guys know who Joaquin Buckley, he's on this card. If you guys remember back on one of my fight talks, I told you guys about Phil Haas. He's on this card. This is not a card to miss. It's going to be bang up. There's going to be a lot of banger fights on it, and I can't wait to see how they go. Now, with that being said, of course, I'm only talking about a few, and I'm going to be talking about the stuff that's going on the main card. And of course, I'm going to start off with one of the fights that is like kind of flying under the radar. That's Santiago Ponzinibio versus Jingling. Now, let me be the first one to tell you guys that they're doing Jingling no favors in this fight. Now, the reason I say that is because if you guys look at Jingling's record versus Santiago Ponzinibio's record, there is a huge gap in competition. And the reason that they're doing this is the Jingling was their first Chinese fighter. They were trying to get him to a title shot, trying to get him a title because they wanted to break into China. They already have their Chinese champion. They have Zhang Weili, who is the strawweight champion and is just dominating that division right now with everything going on with her. Now, with Jingling, I'm not saying he's not a decent fighter. I'm not saying he's not a great fighter. He's a really tough, gritty fighter coming out of the American top team in China. He's now been working with the American top team for a while, and he is a really decent fighter. But when you compare him to Santiago Ponzinibio, there's a huge gap in just the style of fighting, the kind of fighting that Santiago Ponzinibio does, and just the style of competition that Ponzinibio has. Now, the way I see this fight going for Jingling is that if he's not able to hold Ponzinibio down and really grind out the win by doing some wrestling, trying to submit him or trying to ground and pound him out of there, I see Jingling getting knocked out either in the first or second round. Ponzinibio is the type of person that puts a lot of pressure. He comes out very aggressively. He has really good hands, and he's has really good takedown defense. And also, he's not that much of a slouch on the floor. He can submit you if he needs to, but he has heavy hands, and he is looking mean for this fight. So be on the lookout for that one. My fight pick for that one is going to be Ponzinibio. And moving on to the next one. It's a co-main event with a little bit of style, with a little bit of finesse, and it's more like it's the vets. It's going to be Matt Brown versus Carlos Condit. Now, if you guys are hardcore or if you guys are even casuals, I'm pretty sure you guys know who Carlos Condit is. And if you are some hardcores, I know you guys know who Matt Brown is. How do I see this fight playing out? I mean, it's a good co-main event, which will probably be a back and forth fight, but let's pump the brakes on it a little bit because I mean they're up in age. The last win that Carlos Condit got was against Court McGee, and that was all the way to a decision. And like if you guys look back at his record, he didn't have a win since from then probably July 2015, maybe 2016. No, 2015. Yeah. So I mean, and then Matt Brown, he's had his tears through the division, and then also he did retire. He's coming back. He's 40 now. Let's see how it goes. I don't think it's going to be a lackluster fight because these are two top good fighters. I think they're going to be right there at the top of the heap, ready to push the pace and everything. Now, the next question on this, do you guys see them going for a title shot? I don't see it. I see them probably fighting out the end of their contracts and then riding off into the sunset. But we never know. And who am I going with this fight? It's kind of a toss-up for me, man. I like Matt Brown because he's a little bit more dirty and gritty. Loves to throw elbows, loves to put you on the cage, loves to basically dirty box you, and he always is looking for that knockout. Now with Carlos Condit, don't kid me, he's not a joke. He has really good striking, really good kickboxing, but something that people seem to forget about him is he's a really good jiu-jitsu artist. He can fight off his back. He's always looking for submissions and loves to go to the ground. Now, how do I see it playing out? I'm kind of leaning towards Carlos Condit, but I like it to see if Matt Brown's going to be able to push him up against the cage. If Matt Brown can get Carlos Condit going on his back foot, I see him having a problem, and Matt Brown carrying a lot of heavy power into those shots that he'll be able to put Carlos Condit out. But if we get into the later rounds, I'm going to have to go with Carlos Condit and thinking that he's going to probably be able to submit Matt Brown out of there, or he'll just pick him apart and make him sit on the outside. So with that, I know it seems like, oh, you're sitting on the fence. Anyways, I'll get to it, and it's going to just be with Carlos Condit. So with all that being said, we have to get to this main event, and this main event is just, dude, the essence of just what this fight is going to be. Now, don't get me wrong. This is going to be a really slobber knocker kind of fight, but this is going to be a back and forth fight. There's a lot of questions that need to be answered here. One is Max going to be able to deal with the pressure of not being a champion anymore? Is he going to be able to handle the mentalness of being able to understand that, if he loses this one, he can find himself back in line and taking about 2 to 3 years to get back up to that 145 title. Now, the other thing is he going to be able to deal with Calvin Kattar's, basically his power? He's really good with his striking, has really good boxing, has really heavy hands, loves to throw those body shots, loves to get in and get really close and dirty. Now, the other thing is we all know that basically Max is no slouch with his striking. He puts on a pace. He's not a super power puncher. He's more of a volume puncher, and then he's able to put you out with a shot as he gets in through the later rounds. Now, that doesn't mean that Kattar does not have good cardio. What I'm looking at here is trying to think if, with the way the styles of both of these guys are, I see that Max is more of an all-round fighter. He's able to push the pace a little bit better. He's able to get the takedowns and get you to the floor. He has really good jiu-jitsu. He's just basically, he covers all the assets of everywhere that MMA is. So what are we looking for here from Max is to make it an MMA fight. With Kattar, you want to see him actually trying to get Max to back up, more looking like a fight like the fight he had with Dustin Poirier at the 155 division. Now, understand, I do get this. This is the 145 division, and we're talking about the 155 division with Max, and Max went up to the 155 division, not actually putting on the weight or putting on the muscle mass that he needs to be at 155. But with that, you have to understand that if Max thinks that he's going to go straight punch for punch, kick for kick with Kattar, it's not going to be an easy night for Max, and he's going to be getting hit super hard and taking in more damage like he did with that Poirier fight. I would rather see Max basically going with throwing a couple of shots and being able to use his angles and cutting off Kattar and being able to take him down and wear out that energy, fill up those arms, get him filled with blood, and try to get him to start having to drop his hands and not being able to carry the weight of his hands. And once again, like I said before, doesn't mean Kattar does not have cardio. He has really decent cardio. He's the only one I've ever seen that really took it to basically the beat. So if you guys think that this is going to be an even match that Max is just going to walk in there and walk through him, it's not going to be that type of match. I don't really have a pick for you guys. I know that sucks, but like I always like to admit to you guys, I'm a little bit biased. I really like Max Holloway. Don't get me wrong, I do like Kattar. I like the New England cartel. I like what they're doing. They're getting more recognition. Their fighters are starting to really break into the top 5 of different divisions, like the bantamweight division, featherweight division, and even some of them are breaking into the lightweight division. But we'll see how it goes. With that being said, I'm probably going to lean with Max. I think he's just a little bit hungry. And if you guys look at his record is stacked. He didn't lose until he lost to Volkanovski, and I still don't think he really lost to Volkanovski. I really do think that Max should still be the featherweight champion, but hey, that's not how the judges saw it. It's not my call. So keep your eyes glued to the screen. And with that, now let's get to some fight news, guys. Now, first off, I have to start off with the biggest fight news of all. It's like what's going on with this weekend with Max Holloway versus Calvin Kattar. Now, the way that this fight is going down is it's going to be on ABC. Part of the main card is going to be on ABC. Now, you guys might be like, okay, ABC, but that's a really big thing for the UFC because that means they're going to be on national TV. It's going to be broadcast all into every single TV home in the country and also in the world. So they're trying to hit a different demographic and trying to get it out there, trying to get more people to see what MMA has to offer and trying to build more fans. Now, the reason that this is going down like that is also because Disney does own ABC, which Disney also owns ESPN, and the UFC had the most phenomenal record for ESPN, basically their ratings and ESPN Plus memberships. So it's a big thing. Now, that also goes on the backs of Max Holloway and Calvin Kattar. If Max is going to be able to deal with the pressure that's going on with being on national TV, which I don't think it's going to be that much of a problem. He was a champion for a long time. He was a very skilled champion for a long time. He was on the craziest fight streak in the featherweight division. So I don't think it's going to be that much of a pressure. But now for Calvin Kattar, could be a little bit of pressure for him. This is a huge main event for him. This is a chance for him to go after that title. So let's see how it plays out. Let's see how it goes. I'm really excited for the UFC. And let's see if they keep this going. If they're going to end up on ABC every couple of once in a while, like every other couple of months, that they'll end up on national TV. With that, guys, let's move on to the next thing. And if I'm not talking about it, it would be so freaking wrong. I know you guys have heard about the Khabib meeting going on with Dana, and Dana's pretty much going to press him as much as he can to try to get him to come back for that last fight. The way I see it going, I don't see Khabib coming back, but let's keep on the lookout for that. Look into the news. If not, make sure when you guys come to the next episode, I will be talking about that and see what's going on there. Other thing, there's a huge question that's been on my mind since like basically MMA went dark for a while. When you look at the division of the lightweight division in the UFC right now, and now if you take a turn and look at Bellator, who has the better of the light heavyweight division right now? Because to me, not being an ass or trying to put it out there, it's starting to look like Bellator has a pretty much more stacked light heavyweight division. Now, the reason that being is there's been a lot of movovers from the UFC to the Bellator light heavyweight division. Also, they've had a couple of other big signings, getting guys out of Russia. They have like Lyoto Machida moving back up to 205. They have Gegard Mousasi moving up to 205. So there's a lot of things going on there. Now, the other reason that the UFC's division hasn't been looking that great is also because, I mean, you had your dominant champion, Jon Jones, go up to heavyweight, and now it's kind of opened up the division, but also you don't have that stack of a division because a lot of the old timers are still beating out the new guys, and there's not that much fresh new blood that's coming into the light heavyweight division. So with that being said, guys, let me know in my comments on YouTube, on Facebook, on IG. Hit me up and let me know. What do you guys think? Do you guys think the Bellator light heavyweight division stacks up way better than the UFC light heavyweight division, or the other way around? Or do you think that the light heavyweight division of the UFC is going to become stacked in the next couple of months in this year of 2021? So let me know and get back to me on that one. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk to you guys about would be the PFL. If you haven't noticed, they started doing a lot of big signings in the last inning of the year. They signed Anthony Pettis. They also signed Fabricio Verdum. They're trying to grab other names and trying to reach into the Russian market and also like the Middle East market and trying to grab guys out of there to sign to freshen up their rankings and also freshen up their fighter listing to create some better fights. Now, my question to you guys, do you think the PFL is going to be a big organization in 2021, or do you not really feel their tournament or season style that they kind of do? Let me know in the comments. Let me know how you guys feel about it. Hit me up and let me know. Now, with all that being said, guys, let's get to a couple of fight announcements. And they've already been announcements that have been already made, but we can talk about them a little bit more. Now, you guys know the next fight coming up is going to be that Michael Chiesa versus Neil Magny fight. Now, I know that was supposed to be Leon Edwards versus Chimaev, but don't overlook this fight. It's a stacked card. That fight is a really big fight for the welterweight division because it puts Michael Chiesa and Neil Magny on the pathway of who they'll be fighting next in the top of the division. If Michael Chiesa could win, he could end up fighting in the top of the top 5 division and getting into the peak of the 1, 2, and 3 slot. If Neil Magny fights and wins, and then it could be Neil Magny getting throwing at, maybe we get Ponzinibio, maybe we get somebody else that he's going to start messing around in the welterweight division, and we see how it goes there. But it's a big fight, so make sure you guys are paying attention to that one. The card's going to be looking phenomenal. Now, if I don't talk to you guys about the hugest fight that's starting at the beginning of the year, of course, it's Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier. Can't wait for this fight. I'm like basically chomping at the bit. Not only for that, you also get Michael Chandler versus Dan Hooker. Now, that is a co-main event that is just tantalizing. And like I said, guys, they're already working on the fight that I talked to you guys about on the last Fight Talk, which is going to be Justin Gaethje versus Charles Oliveira. Now, the lightweight division is shaping up to be one of the stellar divisions for 2021. And it's always been a stellar division. It's always stacked. But the fights that they're going to be offering this year is going to be great. So keep your eyes glued to the screen. Keep your eyes paying attention. And also, if you guys haven't heard, UFC 257 is actually going to have fans. But of course, it's at Fight Island. And they're only going to have a few fans there. But it's just nice to see that fans are getting back into the building. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how all this goes. And hopefully we can get back to a regular schedule and actually start having fans in the UFC events and also the Bellator events, PFL events, and all of MMA and all of combat sports. Now, the other big fight that got announced, or actually 3 fights that got announced, which will be going down on March 6th, is going to be Israel Adesanya versus Jan Blachowicz. And then you get Aljamain Sterling versus Peter Yan and Megan Anderson versus Amanda Nunes. Now, that is a stacked card. I can't wait to get into it. Can't wait to break it down. I'm already starting to deep dive into it and look at it and see how it's going to play out. Now, the questions that's spinning around in everybody's head. Are we getting excited for if Israel Adesanya wins that belt? Does he get to fight Jon Jones? Pump your brakes. I don't think it's happening. Jon is already putting on a ton of pounds already to get ready for heavyweight. I don't see him cutting the weight to come right back down. But the other questions would be, is Israel going to stick at 205 or is he going to go back to 185? We'll hash that out as it gets a little bit closer. And then been freaking foaming at the mouth for the Aljamain Sterling versus Peter Yan fight. Glad it's booked. Hopefully it sticks together. Hopefully this fight sticks because it's starting to look like one of those Khabib versus Tony Ferguson fights. And I can't take it. Now, the other thing about this is the Megan Anderson versus Amanda Nunes. It's for the 145-pound championship. This is Megan Anderson's last fight on her contract. What does that mean for the 145-pound division for the women's? Is it going to be gone if Amanda Nunes beats Megan Anderson, or are they going to keep the division going and start trying to get a little bit more fighters in for the 145 women's featherweight division and see how it goes? We'll find out about that, just like I said on the other ones. As we get closer to those fights, then we'll get into that. All right, guys, with all that being said, that's pretty much all I have for you guys this week. And don't worry, I'll be back real quick with another fight talk where I'll be talking about and breaking down the Michael Chiesa versus Neil Magny fight, which is going to be on January 20th on Wednesday night. Always love a middle of the week fight card. It's the best. Anyways, and I'll also be recapping this fight that's going down this week. And just like in the beginning, guys, if this is your first time here, please hit that subscribe button. And if you guys can do me a favor, smash those like buttons and let's beat this YouTube algorithm so we can get the Filthy Report out there. Help me out. Let's get it out there. Let's let everybody find out about Fight Talk. And also, if you haven't checked out the rest of my channel, go ahead and check it out. I have Let's Get Geeked Up, where I talk about anything dealing with geek. I'm talking Marvel, Star Wars, comic book, DC, anime, mangas. If it's geek, I'm there with it, and I'm going to be delivering it straight up to you guys. And like always, guys, if nobody loves you, always remember, I love you. I am Jason Filthy Jones, bringing you the dirtiest information with the cleanest style. Peace.